Greetings, chosen ones. If your spirit has brought you to this moment, understand that this is not a coincidence. There is a divine synchronicity operating behind the scenes of your reality, an invisible hand that has guided your steps to this specific message at this precise time. You have been feeling the heavy weight of time, haven't you? The deep, gnawing anguish of a promise that seems to hover just out of reach, never quite materializing in the physical realm. For many of you, the last few years, perhaps even the last decade, have felt like an endless walk through a desert. It has been a cycle of high hopes, followed by crushing disappointment, of prayers that felt like they were hitting a ceiling of bronze and echoing back unanswered. You have watched others advance, achieving milestones with ease, while you seem trapped in a loop of waiting, asking the heavens, "What am I doing wrong? Why this silence? Where is the manifestation of what I feel is mine by divine right?" Before we unravel the mystery of this delay, I want to offer you a compass for the territory we are about to navigate. This journey of waiting can often feel like walking through a labyrinth without a map, and sometimes we need a structured guide to help us integrate these lessons. This is why I invite you to explore the 3 keys to a prosperous life. This is not merely a collection of concepts. It is a comprehensive trilogy designed as a practical blueprint specifically for chosen ones like you. It's a guide to help you awaken to who you truly are, to heal the invisible locks and traumas that have held you back, and to finally expand with stability. It teaches you how to receive, sustain, and multiply your blessings without the heavy burden of guilt. Whether you prefer to read or listen, this trilogy is available as both an e-book and an audiobook to suit your journey. If you feel this resonates with your spirit, you can find the link in the pinned comment or description below. Now let us return to the heart of this silence. Let us tear the veil of this illusion you have been living under. What the world labels as delay, the spirit calls incubation. What your ego perceives as rejection, your soul recognizes as supreme protection. This is not just about motivation. This is a master key to unlocking the understanding of what has actually been happening while you waited. You were not forgotten. You were hidden. There is a monumental difference between being buried and being planted. And the truth is that you have been all this time a sacred seed resting in the fertile soil of divine providence. We must dive deep into the spiritual anatomy of this waiting period. The enemy of your soul, that force of resistance, doubt, and fear, knew exactly who you were destined to become. He saw the brilliance of your aura and the magnitude of your calling long before you could even comprehend it yourself. The war you faced, the doors that slammed shut, the betrayals by those you called friends, the financial and emotional blockages, these were not accidents. They were desperate attempts to abort a destiny that is too large to be contained. But here is the secret that changes everything. God used the very tactics of the enemy as tools for your training. Consider the concept of divine protection in the delay. Imagine for a moment that you were about to enter a magnificent building, but a stern guard stopped you at the door. You were frustrated, you pleaded, perhaps you even wept at the unfairness of it. But minutes later, the roof of that building collapsed. That no you received, that door that was shut in your face, was not a denial of your worth. It was the preservation of your life and your purpose. The divine saw traps ahead that your physical eyes could not perceive. He saw relationships that would have drained your anointing, opportunities that were Trojan horses disguised as blessings. The delay was your shield. While you felt stagnant, angels were clearing the path ahead, removing spiritual landmines so that when you finally advance, nothing can stop you. If you can look back now and sense that a past rejection was actually a form of protection, take a moment to like this video, signaling your gratitude for the dangers you never had to face. Furthermore, this waiting period has been your crucible of refinement. We must understand that gold is not purified in the gentle warmth of the sunlight. It is purified in the fire. You asked for strength, for wisdom, for spiritual power. These attributes are not instant downloads. They are forged in the heat of experience. The profound loneliness you felt was necessary to disconnect you from the addiction to external validation. You needed to be brought to point zero, a place where the only voice that mattered was that of the Creator. The emotional wounds that surfaced did not come up to destroy you, but to be healed once and for all. God was performing deep soul surgery, removing codependency, the need for human approval, and the fear of scarcity. He was building an internal structure capable of supporting the weight of the glory that is coming. If you had received the blessing 5 years ago, it would have crushed you because your character was not yet strong enough to sustain your destiny. This leads us to the test of fidelity and discernment. Who remained by your side when the seasons turned cold? The waiting period is a revealer of hearts. Masks fall when the stage goes dark. The divine allowed this delay to sift your inner circle. Those who walked out of your life were not losses, they were deliverances. You learned to discern energies, to look past flattering words and observe the fruit of one's actions. Your intuition was sharpened on the whetstone of adversity. Today you possess a spiritual radar that you did not have before. You know who is who. This wisdom is the treasure you have extracted from the darkness, and it is a weapon you will need for the next level. And now we arrive at the crucial understanding of divine alignment. The universe does not operate on the linear time of the clock, known as Chronos, but on the opportune time of God, known as Kairos. While you were waiting, God was moving pieces on the chessboard of other people's lives. That partner of destiny, that business opportunity, that mentor, that vital resource, they were also being prepared. If you had met them sooner, the fit would have been imperfect. Alignment requires that all parties be on the correct frequency. The waiting was the necessary synchronization for a perfect convergence. This convergence is what brings you to the precipice of the suddenly. Throughout scripture and history, long periods of preparation often precede sudden, rapid acceleration. Think of the bamboo tree, which spends years growing its root system underground, showing no visible growth above the soil. To the observer, it seems dead or dormant, but once it breaks ground, it shoots up feet in a matter of days. You have been in the root-building phase. You have been anchoring yourself deep into the bedrock of truth, so that when your season of elevation arrives, you will not be toppled by the winds of success. The silence was not emptiness, it was the gathering of momentum. As you stand here today, realize that the wait has transformed you. You are no longer the same person who started this journey. You are less reactive and more responsive. You are less driven by ego and more led by spirit. You have surrendered the need to control the how and the when, and in doing so, you have finally aligned with the flow of abundance. The frustration you felt was simply the friction of your old self dying away. Now that process is nearing its completion. The atmosphere around you is shifting. The resistance is thinning. If you feel this shift in your spirit, if you sense that the incubation period is ending and the birthing time is near, consider subscribing to the channel. By doing so, you align yourself with a community of souls who are also awakening to their purpose, declaring that you are ready for the next chapter. The signs are subtle at first, but they are there. You might notice a newfound peace where there used to be anxiety. You might find that opportunities which previously eluded you are now circling back, but this time you have the wisdom to handle them. This is the beauty of the divine timeline. Nothing is ever truly lost. It is simply held in trust until you are ready to claim it. The years the locusts have eaten will be restored, not just in quantity, but in quality. The depth of your struggle is the measure of the height of your calling. You were built for this. You were chosen for this endurance because you were trusted with the outcome. So as you move forward from this day, walk with your head high. Do not look at the time lost. Look at the character gained. Do not envy those who seem to arrive before you, for their journey is not your journey, and their burden is not your burden. You have been crafted for a specific assignment that required a specific kind of forging. The heat was intense because the gold is pure. The wait was long because the destiny is eternal. You are now standing at the threshold of the promise, fully equipped, fully aware, and fully protected. And as the doors begin to open, you will realize that every second of the wait was absolutely necessary for the masterpiece that is your life. But there is one final realization that often comes right before the breakthrough, a subtle shift in your daily perception that signals the arrival of your harvest. This shift begins as a quiet detachment from the urgency that once ruled your days. You stop checking your phone for validation. You stop mentally rehearsing arguments with people who misunderstood you. You find yourself observing the chaos of the world not with indifference, but with a calm, removed compassion, like an adult watching children argue over a toy. This is the phenomenon of spiritual sovereignty. It is the realization that your internal state is no longer held hostage by external circumstances. You are becoming the thermostat, not the thermometer. You set the temperature of your reality rather than merely reacting to it. This new perception is the ultimate sign of maturity, signaling that you are finally safe enough to be trusted with the weight of glory. You begin to understand that the delay was never about denying you the blessing, but about building the container that could hold it without cracking. However, navigating this transition from the wilderness to the promised land requires more than just intuition. It requires a structured understanding of the laws that govern this new territory. Many reach this threshold only to self-sabotage because they lack the manual for their new life. If you feel this resonance, if you sense that you are standing at the gate but need the precise codes to unlock it and walk through with confidence, I invite you to explore the 3 keys to a prosperous life. This is not merely a book. It is a comprehensive trilogy designed as a practical map for the chosen. It guides you through the essential phases of awakening to your true identity, healing the invisible traumas that act as glass ceilings, and finally expanding into your destiny with stability. Available as both an e-book for deep study and an audiobook for immersive learning, this trilogy teaches you how to receive, sustain, and multiply your blessings without the guilt or fear that often plagues the spiritually sensitive. If you are ready to stop guessing and start governing your reality, you can find the link to this resource in the pinned comment or description below. It is time to equip yourself for the harvest. With this framework in mind, let us deepen our understanding of why this specific moment in your timeline feels so distinct. You are currently undergoing a recalibration of your nervous system. For years, you may have operated in a state of high-functioning survival mode, fueled by cortisol and adrenaline. You were fighting battles, real and imagined, just to stay afloat. But abundance cannot dock at a port that is constantly battered by storms. Prosperity requires a nervous system that is regulated, open, and capable of rest. The fatigue you might be feeling right now is not laziness. It is the biological requirement of integration. Your body is learning that it is safe to let down its guard. It is learning that the war is over. This is often the most difficult part for the warrior spirit, to lay down the sword and pick up the plow. You are moving from the energy of the hunter, who must kill to eat, to the energy of the gardener, who plants, waters, and waits with knowing expectation. As this internal safety is established, you will notice a secondary phenomenon that often confuses the uninitiated: the sudden departure of certain people from your life. It is crucial that you do not grieve this as a loss, but recognize it as a divine realignment. As your vibration rises, it becomes dissonant with those who are committed to staying in the lower frequencies of complaint, victimhood, and stagnation. The friction you feel in these relationships is not personal. It is energetic physics. You are expanding, and they are contracting. To try and hold on to them would be to anchor yourself to a dock you have already set sail from. If you have experienced this shedding of relationships recently and felt the sting of it, take a moment to like this video. It serves as a signal to the universe that you accept the clearing of the path, trusting that new companions, those who match your future rather than your past, are being prepared to meet you. There is a profound mystery here that we must explore, a concept often overlooked in the rush for success. It is the principle of the vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum, but the spirit uses it. Before a major influx of new blessings, there is almost always a period of emptiness. The money dries up, the phone stops ringing, the inspiration feels blocked. To the fearful mind, this looks like abandonment. But to the awakened soul, this is the cleaning of the house. You cannot put new furniture in a room that is cluttered with old debris. The emptiness is not a void of nothingness. It is a womb of potential. It is the pause between the exhale and the inhale. If you are in the vacuum right now, do not panic. Do not rush to fill the silence with noise or the empty space with distractions. Sit in it. The magnitude of what is coming is directly proportional to the size of the space being cleared. This brings us to the subtle danger of the upper limit problem. As you begin to experience the first drops of this rain, perhaps a small financial win, a restored relationship, or a moment of pure joy, watch your mind closely. There is a part of the human ego that is terrified of too much goodness. It feels unfamiliar. We are often more comfortable with familiar struggle than we are with unfamiliar success. You might find yourself waiting for the other shoe to drop or subconsciously creating a small drama to bring your happiness levels back down to a safe zone. Recognize this mechanism. When you feel the urge to worry when things are going well, gently correct yourself. Say to your spirit, "It is safe for things to be this good. It is safe for things to get even better." You are stretching your capacity to receive. You are retraining your baseline of normalcy from struggle to ease. Consider the eagle. It does not flap its wings frantically to reach the greatest heights. It finds the thermal currents, invisible columns of rising warm air, and locks its wings into place. It allows the current to lift it. This is the difference between efforting and aligning. For years, you have been flapping, exhausting your energy to maintain your altitude. The season you are entering is the thermal. It is the season of the updraft. Your work now is not to flap harder, but to locate the current of grace and trust it to carry you. This requires a terrifying amount of trust because it feels like you are doing less, yet you are moving faster and higher than ever before. This is the paradox of the kingdom. The surrender of force leads to the acquisition of power. As you ride this current, you will gain a vantage point that was impossible from the ground. You will begin to see the interconnectedness of your past struggles. You will see that the job you lost was the only way to free you for the career you were born for. You will see that the heartbreak was the surgery required to open your heart to a higher form of love. This panoramic vision is the gift of the mountaintop. It brings a peace that surpasses understanding because it is based on the evidence of the divine architecture of your life. Nothing was wasted. The betrayal taught you discernment. The poverty taught you resourcefulness. The loneliness taught you intimacy with the divine. You are not a survivor of a wreck. You are a graduate of the most rigorous school of spirit, and you are graduating with honors. But here is where we must address a shadow that lingers even in the light of the breakthrough, the fear of being seen. For many of you, invisibility was a survival tactic. Staying small kept you safe from criticism, from envy, from expectation. Now the call is to step into the light, to be a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. This exposure can feel naked and vulnerable. You may feel the imposter syndrome whispering that you are a fraud, that you don't belong in these new rooms, that sooner or later everyone will find out you are just making it up as you go. Listen closely. That voice is a liar. The feeling of being an imposter is actually a sign of growth. It means you are entering a room that is bigger than your ego. If you felt completely comfortable, you wouldn't be growing. Lean into the discomfort. It is the sensation of your soul stretching to fit your new skin. If this message is resonating with your spirit, if you feel the truth of these words settling into your bones, consider sharing this with someone who is also walking this path. We are building a network of awakened minds, and your interaction helps these signals reach those who are still lost in the static. Now let us look at the practical application of this suddenly. When the momentum shifts, it often requires quick, decisive action. This is not the frantic action of fear, but the precise action of obedience. You will get an idea, a download, to call a specific person, to start a specific project, to drive down a different street. These prompts will be quiet and fleeting. You must learn to obey the whisper. The time for debating with your intuition is over. The delay between the instruction and the action is where the doubt creeps in. Practice immediate obedience in small things. If you feel led to drink water, do it. If you feel led to write a sentence, write it. By honoring the small prompts, you tune your receiver for the frequency of the large instructions, the ones that bring the career shifts, the geographic moves, the life partners. You are also being called to a new level of stewardship. In the past, you may have managed scarcity. Now you must learn to manage surplus. This applies to your energy as much as your finances. You can no longer afford to spend your attention on things that do not yield a return. Every conversation, every piece of media you consume, every thought you entertain is an investment. Ask yourself, is this compounding my peace, or is it depleting my reserves? You are becoming the CEO of your own life, and a good CEO is ruthless about resource allocation. This is not coldness, it is wisdom. You have a destiny to fund, physically and energetically. You cannot afford leaks in your vessel. There is a concept in ancient wisdom regarding the testing of the heart. Before great authority is granted, the heart is tested for purity. Have you noticed situations recently where you had the opportunity to take a shortcut, to compromise your integrity for a quick gain, or to seek revenge when you could have chosen grace? These were not random events. They were final exams. The universe was asking, if I give you power, will you use it to serve or to dominate? If I give you wealth, will you build walls or longer tables? Your refusal to compromise, even when it hurt, even when no one was watching, was the key that unlocked the next level. You passed the test. You proved that your character is now heavier than your talent. Talent can take you to the top, but only character can keep you there. As the dawn of this new era breaks, you will find that your definition of success has changed. It is no longer about accumulation, but about alignment. It is no longer about impressing the crowd, but about expressing the soul. You will find joy in the simple mastery of your daily routine. The way you make your coffee, the way you greet a stranger, the way you breathe, everything becomes a ceremony, a sacrament of gratitude. This is the state of living prayer. You are no longer praying for things. Your very life has become the prayer. This vibrational state is magnetic. It draws opportunities to you without manipulation. You become a vortex of positive probability. Yet, keep a vigilant eye on the echo. Just as a sound wave bounces back even after the source is silent, old patterns may echo in your life just as they are dying out. You might have a week of tremendous breakthrough followed by a day of intense old-school depression or anxiety. Do not be fooled. Do not say, "Oh no, I'm back at square one." You are not. This is merely the echo of a shout you made years ago fading into the distance. Acknowledge it, but do not identify with it. Say, "I hear you, but you are the past." Let the echo fade without engaging it. It has no power unless you give it your attention. The journey you have walked has been solitary, often lonely. But look around you now. The solitude was necessary to separate you from the herd mentality, but the next phase is about soul tribe. You are being gathered with others who have the same markings, the same scars, and the same fire in their eyes. Collaboration is the currency of the new earth. You will find that 1 + 1 = 11. The projects and visions you carry are too large for one set of shoulders. You will recognize your allies not by their resume, but by their resonance. There will be an instant familiarity, a lack of pretense, a mutual recognition of the divine spark. Be open to these connections. They may come in packages you didn't expect, from backgrounds you wouldn't have chosen, but they hold the missing pieces of your puzzle. As we move deeper into this realization, understand that your suddenly is not a finish line. It is a starting line. We often view the breakthrough as the end of the movie, the happily ever after. In reality, it is the beginning of the sequel. It is where the real work begins, the work of building, creating, and establishing. Do not idolize the destination so much that you freeze when you arrive. You are built for continuous expansion. The universe is ever expanding, and as a fractal of that universe, so are you. There is no ceiling. Every ceiling you reach becomes a new floor. This perspective keeps you humble and hungry. It prevents the stagnation of arrogance. You are also breaking a generational curse. This term is often used, but let us strip it of its mysticism and look at the mechanics. A generational curse is simply a behavioral loop passed down through DNA and observation. We are anxious people. We are bad with money. We always get divorced. You are the anomaly in your bloodline who stood up and said, "It ends with me." The resistance you felt was the momentum of centuries of ancestors pushing back. But the ease you are stepping into is the momentum of centuries of future descendants pushing you forward. You are the bridge. You have paid the toll for those who will come after you. When you heal your own nervous system, you are literally healing the genetic expression for your lineage. The magnitude of this cannot be overstated. You're not just saving yourself, you are rewriting the code for your entire family tree. Therefore, walk with a sense of nobility, not pride, but nobility. You are royalty who has been in exile, now returning to the throne. The exile was necessary to teach you empathy for the common struggle, so that you would be a benevolent ruler of your domain. Do not shrink back into the shadows of false humility. False humility is just pride in a mask. It is hiding your light to make others comfortable. True humility is accepting your greatness as a gift from God and using it fully. Shine unapologetically. Your light does not dim others. It gives them permission to shine as well. In the coming days, pay close attention to your dreams. As your conscious mind relaxes its grip on survival, your subconscious will begin to communicate more clearly. You may receive symbols, instructions, or visitations in your sleep. Keep a journal by your bed. These are not random firings of neurons. They are strategic briefings for your mission. The veil between the seen and the unseen is thinning for you. You are becoming a multidimensional citizen, operating with wisdom from above to solve problems down below. This is the definition of being in the world, but not of it. Remember, the bamboo tree does not regret the 5 years underground once it touches the sky. It does not look down at the grass and envy its quick sprouting. It knows that its height requires its depth. You have depth. You have roots wrapped around the bedrock of reality. Let the winds blow. Let the seasons change. You are built to last. The suddenly is here, and it is beautiful, but the stability you built in the dark is what makes it sustainable. And as you stand in this new light, you will realize something profound about the nature of time itself. You will see that time is elastic. The years that felt wasted can be redeemed in a month. The progress that should take a decade can happen in a year. This is the concept of quantum leaping. It is not magic, it is alignment. When you are out of alignment, you are dragging a heavy load uphill. When you are in alignment, you are on a high-speed train. The friction disappears. If you are ready to accelerate, if you are ready to claim the time that was promised to be restored, simply type, "I am ready to receive" in the comments. Let this be your digital signature on the contract of your new life. There remains, however, one final layer to this transformation that we must address: the integration of the shadow. In your pursuit of light, do not repress the parts of you that are fierce, protective, or primal. A complete being is not just nice. A complete being is dangerous, but disciplined. The meek shall inherit the earth, but meekness in the original text does not mean weak. It translates to power under control, like a war horse that is trained for battle but responsive to the slightest touch of the rider. You need your anger to protect your boundaries. You need your ambition to fuel your mission. Do not castrate your power in the name of spirituality. Sanctify it, harness it. Use the fire that once burned you to fuel the engine of your destiny. As we conclude this segment of the journey, understand that the silence has spoken. The wait has worked. The person who entered the wilderness is dead. The one who is emerging is anointed. The atmosphere is clearing. The sun is breaking the horizon. The harvest is not coming. The harvest is here. The sickle is in your hand. What you do next will define the legacy of your lifetime. Do not hesitate. Do not look back. The past is a tomb. The future is a womb. Step forward into the suddenly.